Hi, my name is Brian S. Leon, and I'm the author of Havoc Rising, the first in the series, the Metasphile series of books. And I just wanted to take a minute to talk to you a little bit about my hero, and maybe from time to time bring you some ideas of what's going on in my head and what I'm doing and why I do it. But today I wanted to talk to you about my hero, Diomedes. And whether you pronounce his name Diomedes or Diomedes or whatever it is, I don't know what the correct way is. I'm not going to argue about that kind of stuff. I pronounce it Diomedes. At any rate, this is the guy that is primarily known from the Iliad, his actions and things that happened to him in the Iliad. His father, Titius, was a great warrior, probably the greatest warrior of his time, so he kind of inherited it. He also kind of inherited the favor of Athena. Athena heavily favored his father and actually offered him immortality during the battle of the Seven against Thebes, all up until she found him eating. He was mortally wounded and he was eating the brains of his enemy. So she rescinded the offer, left him to die, and Diomedes was about 4 years old at this time. He and the six other children of those fallen kings swore an oath, and 10 years later they avenged their fathers in the War of the Epigony, and they succeeded where their fathers failed. And Diomedes was considered to be the mightiest of all the warriors involved in that battle, which was the most significant battle of its time. And it's obviously just before the Trojan War. But he eventually became king of Argos, and he got involved as king of Argos. He was a suitor of Helen, the Helen of Troy. And as a result, he was bound by the oath of Tyndareus, where he had to support whoever married Helen and was any wrong that was done against him. So he had to join the Trojan War as a result of this oath. He was one of the youngest of the Achaean kings in this war. He also was considered one of the most experienced by far because of what he had done since he was a kid. He was also considered one of the most valiant soldiers of the war. He never committed hubris, and he was the perfect embodiment of the traditional heroic values. He was considered second only to Achilles as the mightiest of all the warriors who were there. He even bested Ajax the Greater, who was considered to be a giant in single combat during funerary games, and they actually had to stop the fight for fear that Diomedes would kill him. He was actually incredibly feared. As a matter of fact, and one of the things I'm going to read it because it's a quote. Hector's brother Helenus says about him, he fights with fury and fills men's soul with panic. I hold him mightiest of them all. We did not fear even their great champion Achilles, son of an immortal though he be, as we do this man. His rage is beyond all bounds, and there is none can vie with him in prowess. He is so heavily favored, like his father, that Athena actually chooses to appear to him in person and gives him the ability to see her as she actually is. This is the only time in the Greek stories like this that this happens. He is definitely considered special, and she even ends up granting him several abilities and powers. Among them, the ability to discern where the gods were on the battlefield, and then also the strength and the speed to interact with them when necessary. Diomedes is unique, like Heracles, in that he fights two different Greek gods and vanquishes them both. Of Aphrodite, which maybe not that big of a deal, and then Ares. Now, he does it with Athena's help, but he also goes after Apollo. He has the good sense to back off of that particular situation. So he actually goes after Ares and Aphrodite, wounds them both in the same day. He's the only mortal to ever have done that in all of Greek mythology. So again, Athena grants him these abilities and these special powers, and she rides with him, and she's with him in the chariot when he attacks Ares. And it was this that kind of started me thinking about him as a character. Now, it also goes on, there's all kinds of things that happen, but ultimately, nobody really knows what happens to Diomedes. He kind of disappears. And there are those legends that suggest that he was offered the same immortality that his father was. And this is kind of where I pick up the story. So I pick up the story with Athena granting him immortality, meaning that he doesn't age. Not that he can't be killed, but that he doesn't age. And she gives him the ability to discern the truth of the situation and see things as they truly are, through glamours, through magic, and all that kind of stuff. And also the ability to go against these creatures, beings, whatever they are, with increased strength and increased speed, and so that he has a better chance of going against them. But the price is that he has to become a protector, a guardian of humanity, kind of working for Athena, with Athena, to protect humanity. And as a result, you end up with a 3,200-year-old hero who is out there still fighting the good fight, trying to protect humanity. In the case of Havoc Rising, from a witch who also comes from Greek mythology and is particularly powerful and is hell-bent on trying to bring about chaos and possibly the end of the world. So at any rate, just real quickly wanted to go over who Diomedes was and why I chose him, where he came from. I didn't invent him. As a matter of fact, most of the things in my book I didn't make up. I pulled them in from various different myths and mythologies and folklores from around the world. I don't, even though this is kind of based in Greek mythology, don't count on the fact that I'm only talking about Greek mythology. I will use any mythology from pretty much anywhere that sounds interesting or piques my curiosity or anything like that. So, at any rate, pick up the book, take a look, give it a read. If you like Greek mythology, you like this. If you like any kind of mythology, if you like urban fantasy, hopefully you'll like this. And please feel free to contact me, Facebook or through my website, briansleon.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or talk with you about anything. And hopefully this will be the first of many. If you have any particular topics you'd like to see me talk about, just ask. Otherwise, I will make stuff up as I go. Thanks.